Hey everyone, thank you for joining. My name is Nate. Today we're going to be going over how to do the pleated pattern with the Ultra Color palette. So we will be making this shirt right here. So please be sure to look over the instructions and then we'll get started. All right, we're going to take one of our pre-prepped shirts here. Make sure it's turned inside out. This one is already inside out. And we're going to flatten it out. Make sure all your wrinkles are out of this. Yeah, keep it that way for you. Make sure it's flat. Get all your wrinkles out. This is going to be really important because what we're going to be doing here, it will mess up the pattern if you don't take these wrinkles out. Okay, so what is a pleat? A pleat is just a fold. It's one little small fold. It's like a pinch in the plastic. So like right here, just make a pinch right there that goes all the way across. That is a pleat. And then you do it again, and it makes another pleat, and another pleat, and another pleat, and another pleat. So that's what a pleat is. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fold this in half first. So I'm going to turn this 90 degrees. It's a little easier to fold in half this way. And I'm going to take this side and bring it to meet this side. We're going to line up all the seams. Come up to the collar. Make sure the collar is lined up. And then right here in the middle, I can actually feel that I have some wrinkles in here that I'm going to have to work out. And so to get those out, what I'll do is stick my hand down through there and physically push them. So what happened is I could feel that the layer in the middle didn't meet all the way up. It came out of it, and that's the front of the shirt in the middle. So I want to make sure that that is done correctly. And the reason that I fold this way too, so what I'm looking at here is the back of the shirt, but also the inside of the back of the shirt. So I turn them inside out. That way, if any kind of specks or dirt or something that's not supposed to get on it gets on it, you're not going to see it. It's on the inside. So we're not worried about that. Especially here, we have paint, we have glue, we have glitter, we have all kinds of things here. So you never know what could get on a shirt. Even some of the dye on this thing back here can sometimes get on it, but there's so little on that by doing it on this side of the shirt, if it does happen to stain it, you're not going to see it on the side that's being worn. So that's why I do all the shirts inside out. And then the reason why we have, why we started with the top of the shirt up, I don't remember if I told you that at the beginning. So I had the top of the shirt up. I may have said that the opposite at the beginning. I'm sorry. A lot of times I do lay the shirt face down first. I did lay this face up first so that I could fold it so that the back and the back are on the outside and the front are on the inside. Now the reason for that is when we go to dye this, when we put dye on this, it has to go through multiple layers of shirt before it reaches this side. Same with when we put dye on this side, it has to go through multiple layers of shirt before it gets on this side. But when we put dye, when we fold it so that the front of the shirt is touching in the middle, that means that those two layers are the most likely to be the same. And so you have the best mirrored image on the front of the shirt. The back of it, it's going to be mostly the same, but there will be some slight differences because of all the layers that it has to go through. So the back of the shirt is on the top, so that's the one that's a little bit different, and the front is always the same. So it kind of hides the flaws. That's something that happens in the more you fold a shirt, the more difference there's going to be between the layers on one side versus the layers on the other side. And so the goal is either to try and hide that or just not even do it. There are folds that go around it, but for this is about, I might fold it one more time, about the max, depending on some folds, but I would actually fold it a different way so that the sides that are different are actually in a different way, just to kind of hide it. So there are different ways to fold it, and I know it can get confusing. Hopefully I didn't confuse you on that and just kind of went off on whatever. So all right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to pleat this now, but yeah, I guess we'll just do straight. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this way right here. Now we're just going to pleat from bottom to top. So I'm actually going to slide the shirt, just since the shirt is a little longer than the table, it is going to hang off just a little bit, but as we pleat, we're going to move up while also pulling the shirt back. So what we'll do is, you can start farther up if you want, if it's a little easier. Right here is probably about the easiest. Make a little pinch and kind of pull them apart so that it makes this natural pleat here. And you can lift that up. All right, let's see if that angle is a little bit easier for you to see. So you can see about how tall my pleat is. I like to do, depending on what I'm tying, the more detail that you want, you'll want smaller pleats, but there's only so small that you can go. And so I like to go about 2/3 to 3/4 of an inch when I'm trying to do some more detailed things. This I'm going to go about an inch. So we've got our inch pleat, and I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to work on this part later because it doesn't hold as well. So what we're going to do is just make our next pinch that's the same height, bring those together, and we're going to keep doing that for the rest of the shirt. And so you're going to want to make sure all your pleats are the same height, and depending on the shirt, some shirts will hold their folds like this. I'm using a Gildan heavy cotton right here. They're easy to fold, they dye well, just an easy all-around shirt to get. It's local, you can order them. They're just, that's what I'm wearing right now too. So I just work with these shirts very often unless somebody asks for something specific. But yeah, so let's keep making our pleats. If they do happen to get off in height, I kind of messed up right there. What'll happen is, depending on if the pleat is too tall or too short, if it's too short, say, well, we'll just push this down so it looks short right here. So what ends up happening is when one's too short, then the two next to it end up covering it up. So you see how you like cannot see the pleat right there? Well, look, when I open this up, there's a pleat in here. So when it's too short, you end up hiding a pleat, and that pleat doesn't get dyed. Sometimes it will, but it hides from the dye basically, and so the dye will always take the path of least resistance, the shortest path that it can. And so if two items are touching, that's going to create a pathway between those two, and the dye will go around them. It just won't even touch them. It may touch them, but more than likely it's going to bypass them completely. And so you want to make sure all your pleats are even. And then if you get one, let's go ahead and say super tall like this, real tall, and then it folds over like that and we tie that, well, guess what? All of these pleats down here, none of those will get dye because this folds it over. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen either. So keep your pleats, keep them level. If they're slightly different, it's, if you're having a hard time keeping them level, a little difference is going to be okay, as long as it's not too much. Like right here, these aren't perfect, they're close, but if I was doing some patterns, I would make sure that I'm doing absolute perfection. But with this being a tutorial, I'm just kind of showing you, I'm doing this the intermediate way. There is definitely an easier way to do this. It doesn't look as clean, where you physically just take it and scrunch it. But that's like a scrunched pleat, where this is an accordion pleat. And so there's different types of pleats, but if you're wanting a clean pleat, then that's what this is. So this is an accordion pleat, and we did fold it in half, so it will be mirrored from left side to right side, and also front to back. So we could call this, I guess we could call this a mirrored pleat. And then we're going to dye this with the ultra color pattern, or ultra color palette. Sorry about that. And so that's going to put some cool effects that are in this. And so we'll get to that once that's dyed. But now that that is mostly folded, you can see there's a little dip right here, but that's okay. So we're going to do here. So this right here, just kind of fold and push it up however it fits in there. The bottom of the shirt, that crease, is going to kind of want to fight with you a little bit. So I made it a little shorter on accident here, but it will do just fine with what we're working with. I'm going to take some rubber bands here. And the best way to do this, so make sure this stays compressed. So you'll give it a good squeeze. The longer that this sits, the more it's going to open up. So you want to keep it compressed. Take a rubber band, fold it, and fold over. So it's doubled. You're going to put 4 fingers through here, or you can even you just need to spread. So you're going to need at least 4 fingers. Could be 6 if you want, like this. And I even use my thumb sometimes. But the goal is you're going to press down on the table. And you're going to drag down while pressing down and get up under the shirt. And you'll be able to slide through the whole shirt pretty much, almost, without it catching. Sometimes it'll catch. If it catches, then that's usually where you need to set. But we're going to band this about every 1.5 inches or so. And so this is actually probably the easiest spot to put your first one. That way that's closed. It doesn't have the chance of opening up as you're putting more rubber bands on. So then I'm going to put this next one here just because I don't want this to move. So right here, I'm actually going to want fold it a little bit more. There's not as much shirt here, so that double fold doesn't quite grab enough. So we'll tighten that. I think we're going to want one more right there too. Just like that. Actually do one more on that too. So we want to make sure everything is bound. We don't want anything loose. If it stays loose like this right here, well, then we would end up losing most of our detail in this. And so we don't want to lose detail, not with this pattern. And so we're going to put the rubber bands on so that it's holding everything semi-tight. It's not going to be real tight just because, you know, we're folding 2 over, but that's about as tight as we want for this. There are other materials that we could use if we want a tighter tie. And so like sinew and kite string, or some waxed polycord, something like that, you can use to tie on these. And if you do that, you'll end up getting, depending on how tight your tie is, you can manage to get some white lines going like this too. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. This is not the easiest, not the hardest. We're just kind of working in the middle here. So if you want to try easier, if you don't want to spend as much time, just pleat, pleat, pleat with every single fold. You don't have to, and if you want to spend more time making them all absolutely perfect, you can as well. It's really a choice. There's not a definite way to tie-dye. There is 1,000,001 different ways to do everything. So see if you can figure out that one that 1,000,000 people haven't done. That's always fun. I got one more rubber band right here. Just make sure that that is held. So you won't be able to go all the way to the edge. So if these get pushed too much, it will roll that rubber band off and it will just pop right off, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so we're just going to use these 6 colors right here. And between each rubber band, it's going to get a different color. So we'll start right over here to the left. Start with the first color, fuchsia. I let these sit for a little bit. They may have dried out a little too much. You want them to be kind of dry, but still slightly damp. If they dry too much, they have a hard time absorbing the dye. But if they're too wet, then they won't saturate very well. So you kind of got a little medium you got to work with. All right, and I'm trying to dye halfway down. I don't want the dye to go all the way. So I'm going to kind of drip this on carefully. Make sure there's enough to saturate it, but I only want it to saturate halfway. So technically I'm going to go like 40% of the way, and then it's going to move a little bit more. So I don't want to do too much, but enough. It's always the hardest thing. Whenever you're trying to do something specific, it never goes that way. You can get kind of close sometimes, but if you try too hard, sometimes you like over try and make it worse than it ever was in the first place. So I just kind of go with it, do what I'm trying to do, but not trying to overdo what I'm trying to do. Just go with it. So just a little bit. And this is just going to be color. So it's going to be striped, but it's going to have alternating stripes. If that makes sense. I know it probably doesn't. I know not everybody has the mind for this kind of stuff. That's probably why you're watching a tutorial on how to do this in the first place. And so what ends up happening is within the pleats, so once we unfold this, the line, by dyeing it different on each side, your line here, each line is going to be alternating colors. So it's going to be like this one that we're working on right here. Usually when I do this color or when I do this color combo, what I'll do is I have the same colors on the opposite end of this. And so the opposite color of this ends up being yellow. The opposite color blue ends up being purple. The opposite color of green ends up being fuchsia. The opposite color of yellow, purple. Opposite color of orange, blue. Opposite color of fuchsia, green. And so it just goes back and forth, up and down through this. And so our line right here, when we open this up, is going to go purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow, all the way up. And this will be blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange. And this will be green, fuchsia, green, fuchsia, green, fuchsia, and so on. So that's how the ultra color palette works. It is the rainbow color palette. It is doubled over, and it is I have it basically mirrored over it, so the opposite color is next to it. But then there's different ways that you can do that too. Like you could just shift it over a little bit. And so let's say instead of like how I had said on the other side of the purple here was yellow, let's say instead of yellow I did green, and then instead of green here there was let's see, blue. So I could say we just shifted it over, and then instead of well, kind of getting ahead of myself on the color there. So yeah, we'll keep adding this color here, and then we'll get to the different color patterns that we can do. Once I start getting off and start talking about something different, I will actually start doing something different, because I kind of do and talk about the same thing, one and the same. So if I get off a little bit, it can be a little tough. Unless I'm like telling a story or something, I'll do that. Do y'all like stories? I don't know. Some of you have told me that you like how I describe how I've been doing this. So I appreciate the feedback that you've been giving me. Sometimes these tutorials kind of seem long, and I'm not sure if you guys like them or not. But I've, from the few of you that have commented, seems to have gotten some positive feedback. I am now at over 1,000 followers, and so it has been, let's see, my very first post last year, I think, was August 23rd. So I think I'm like, right, this will be my first set of videos after my 1 year anniversary, I guess you could say, of posting videos on YouTube. I know my first ones were kind of I don't know. To me, they weren't too great, but I did not really know what I was doing. It was, I don't know, camera work, camera angles. I also, well, lighting. Lighting is huge. Like, I'm still using the same camera as I did on those first ones, but I've been trying to record for social media and for YouTube at the same time on those, and so my panning wasn't correct, and so a lot of times I was just doing a square right here, and that way I could crop it for this, and I could crop it for social media, and I did not like the way it looked. It took away too much quality, and so now everything that I'm recording is recorded for this, and then I'll just take splices of this and crop it for social media. But this is the main platform that these videos are going to, and then anything that's going on the social media is basically just a super quick short version of this that leads to this for the most part. And I've been told I should probably start doing some shorts as well. I don't really know the shorts. I think I posted one or two once before. Might have even deleted them because they did not do well. They had like no views, but I don't know. Do people watch YouTube shorts? So I have no idea. Yeah, I am not monetized, but I'm on the road to monetize. So I did reach that 1,000 followers. Actually, probably right around the same time. Let's see. What is today's date? Today is the 25th. Sorry, I just had to look. And I think I reached 1,000 followers yesterday, maybe. I don't know. It could have been the day before. I'm not really quite sure. I think it might have actually been the day before. So if the 23rd was the first day that I posted and last year, then the 23rd this year would be the day that I reached 1,000 followers. That's the minimum to monetize for this, but I still don't have the watch hours. I'm close. I'm at like about 3,200 hours now, 44,000 hours for a year. And so when I first posted the very first videos, they still have the most views out of any of my videos here on YouTube. What I ended up doing was posting a few videos, and then they didn't get very many views, and I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And I didn't post anything. I didn't look at it for a while. It was probably a few months actually. And let's see, in September I end up doing a couple festivals and stuff, and so I was starting to get a little busy, and I was like, I just don't really have time for these videos at the moment. Yeah, so I have fuchsia on that other side, so now I'm going to do the opposite color here, and I'm going to do green. Yeah, so I didn't really have time for the videos, and I was like, once I get more time, then I'll be able to do this. And so I kind of just held off right there at the beginning. And I also didn't know really what to make videos of. I was like, do I make videos of just like the patterns that are popular? Do I make videos of stuff that only I do or that I know? And like, there's other tie dyers that know it, but like, do I give away my secrets, you could say? And I was like, well, I don't want to give away too much at first, but now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a video for everything. Might take a while, and there are some videos that I may or may not make. I don't know, like my skeleton die. We'll see about that, because that can take anywhere from 5 to 8 hours just to make. And so if I do make a video for that, it may not be like this with me talking. It may just be a sped up video. So we'll see, some kind of time lapse, something that does not take 8 hours, especially since so I do all my video editing and everything just straight from my phone. And so trying to save a 5 to 8 hour video, I don't even know if my phone has the capability to save something that large. I'd have to compress it down, speed it up, try to get it down to, well, something like that. Honestly, I'd probably try to get it down to like 20 minutes. Maybe a little bit longer, but I actually haven't really cared to make one for that. Like, some people have asked, and it's one of those patterns where once you're at that level, you can look at it and you can tell, you should be able to tell how it's done. If you're not able to quite tell, you may not be at the level to do it. It is super tedious and requires a few techniques, mostly the isolation technique for, well, yeah, pretty much mostly just that. But there's some Kenny style stuff that's put into it as well. Doesn't necessarily have to, but the isolation style, it's one isolation after another, after another, after another, after another, and like every single bone is tied individually. So it's just multiple isolations. So it's just me, it would be me just tying over the same little piece, just bone by bone by bone, because I go through, I tie, or first I draw the skeleton as anatomically correct as I'm able to. It is a little tough, and it is a little bit larger than it actually would be, but that's just because if I were to actually do it smaller and to fit, that'd be very tough, very, very tough. So so I do kind of enlarge them just a little bit, but yeah. So eventually I'll have a video for, who knows, I don't know. Let's see how many videos I can make a bet when I stop. Think I can make 1,000 videos? Is that a lot? I think that's a lot. I don't know if I could do that. Even just 100 videos, that's a lot. I don't even know how many I have. I'm gonna have to go through and look. I'm probably going to be cleaning up some videos too. Some of my earlier videos, I may be going back through and just deleting some early ones and redoing whatever style I happen to have been doing. So we'll see. I'm gonna see how things go. I'm also painting some now too. So as I paint, I may be doing more tie-dye lessons here. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what I do. I'm enjoying the painting. So I just did a mural over at this place called the Spring Arts Healing Center, and here in Old Town Spring. And it was my first mural. I've been wanting to paint it. I've been wanting to paint a mural for a very long time. I've had this pattern in my head for a while too, and I even just paint dyed it on a shirt. But so I went over there one day. I prepped the door. What it was an old doorway. Used to be a doorway that went somewhere, and then now it's just a wall. But you can tell it used to be a doorway. And so I painted a portal that goes to like another realm. And so I put some sacred geometry into it, and I put a mandala on it. And the first day I went and prepped it. And so what I did is I taped off the walls and then made sure I wasn't getting paint on anything, and then painted the whole door black, or the whole doorway black, and let that sit till the next day so that I could tape it off. And I taped off my design and recorded the entire thing. And it took me, so I was there for about 15, 16 hours. And when I got there, it took me, let's see, I was mostly set up, but then I got there and I like stared at it for a while just to get like mentally prepared, because I was about to do something that I had never done before. And I was very grateful for the opportunity to get to do it. And so I wanted to make sure that I did not mess up. And so I like sat there for a long time trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then I spent almost 30 minutes just trying to get the Bluetooth to work correctly. Like it kept connecting, but when I record, it turns the music off because I was playing from my phone over the Bluetooth, and I couldn't get it to play again. And like there are ways, but for some reason it wasn't fully paired to where the remote would replay it again. Because once I press play, like on this thing right here, it shuts the music off. But then whatever device that I'm hooked up to, if I press play from that device, then the music starts playing again. So if I got headphones or something, it'll play, or if I'm connected to a speaker, it'll play. And I don't know, for some reason it would not connect from the remote. And so I'd have to unpair and repair. And I would know when it was paired when I changed the volume with the remote, that it would change the volume on my phone, because it even had like its own volume that would go higher. But then if I changed it on my phone, it was like you could tell they were separate volume controls and weren't one and the same. And so I was like, it's still not paired correct. So I finally got it paired. And then after that, I spent 14 hours just straight. So I taped it off, and I was done I was done pretty late. And I was like, do I paint it? And so I decided, yep, you know what? I am going to paint it. And so once I started, I couldn't stop because I needed to have the tape pulled off shortly after painting. And so I just sat and I painted. And I painted until about 4 o'clock in the morning, and then pulled the tape off. And I was home at around 6 o'clock in the morning. So I spent 14 hours on it. And then the video of me making that has gotten more views than anything I've ever posted on anything. Yeah, so I'm going to be painting a little bit more. It seems that, I mean, it's something I've been wanting to do, so I don't know why I really waited so long. So I'll still be tie-dyeing and stuff, still be doing these videos, but I will also be doing some painting, and I may even do some other how-to videos. I know how to draw, I know how to paint. Maybe I'll teach how to draw and paint too, and some other stuff. So yeah, if you want to know how to do that kind of stuff, let me know, and maybe I'll branch out my channel to start doing even more. So this is pretty much done. Sweet. You got that all dyed on both sides. We're going to let that sit till tomorrow, and then we're going to wash it out. Okay, so our shirt is washed and dried. If you need to see how to do that, please check my video, how to rinse and wash your tie-dye, and it'll go over the instructions for that. So I'm going to go over the shirt a little bit for you. So what we did was the pleated pattern with the ultra color palette. And so the pleats, by pleating straight up, so what we did first is we folded the shirt in half, and so that makes a mirror from this side to this side so that we have the same on both sides. And then the pleat went from bottom to top in a straight line, and so that's where these lines come from. That's from the pleat. And then by dyeing the color palette different on each side, what we end up getting is these alternating lines. And so every other line, we'll start here at the bottom. We'll say that that was the bottom, then the bottom. So it'll go bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. And so that bottom layer was this green, yellow, orange, fuchsia, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, fuchsia. And then that top layer was the fuchsia, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, fuchsia, purple, blue, green. And so that's how we get the alternating, is by dyeing the two different on the two sides. And then here's the back here. So you see how we have the same color going here on the back. And so by folding in half, that ends up giving us the same pattern from side to side and from back to front. So please be sure to click that like and subscribe button for more videos. My name is Nate. Thank you for watching.